To start off, I want to thank each of you for allowing me to share this information with you. My hope is that you will be able to take something from this to help you make adjustments if needed to your parenting styles or interactions with your children. There is a growing concern about the use of technology and the media has in our lives, and more importantly, the lives of our young ones. It can be hard to find the time to entertain your children while completing other work that has to get done around the house. In an article, someone said screen time, defined as time spent watching television, DVDs, or videos, or playing computer or video games, has been related to serious health consequences in children, such as impaired language acquisition, violent behavior, tobacco smoking, and obesity. While it may be helpful for some parents, relying on television and video games as parenting tools, it will negatively impact their cognition skills, behavior, development, and aggression levels. I will share with you the impact of relying on TV to entertain young ones. There are three main areas that are impacted that I will tell you about. Those three categories are cognitive development delays, poor behavior changes, and heightened aggression levels. Watching television at young ages can and does impact a child's ability to cognitively grow. Television viewing in infancy is disruptive to play as it reduces the quality and quantity of child-parent interactions and is associated with inattentive, hyperactive behaviors, low executive functions, and language delay, at least in the short term. When parents use television as a parenting tool while their children are in infancy, they are disrupting the child's ability to develop their cognitive skills. This takes away precious parent-child time and usually involves poor quality time spent together. It can also change a child's behavior. These changes might not be permanent, but can you really risk it? Now that I have talked about the consequences that the child will suffer through cognitively, I will move on to talk about the changes in behavior that come along with the heavy reliance on television as entertainment and a parenting tool for your little ones. It is important to remember that there are different kinds of television programs, with some being better than others. There are a lot of television shows that can be damaging to people no matter what age they are. Even if your children are doing their own activities and the television is just on in the background, they will notice different behaviors in the programs. They will change the way they act because you allow it on the television. If they can see that you think it's okay on the TV, they will also think that it's okay for them to do. Higher exposure to adult-directed television programs during infancy and the preschool years was associated with poor executive function skills. And exposure to adult-directed content at age 4 was associated with poor school readiness and vocabulary skills. The programs that are on TV these days, even on the channels that are meant for kids, can be appalling at times. When they see that poor behavior is allowed on TV, they will start to do it as well. Now I will move on to talk about the changes in a child's aggression levels while watching the TV. Habits about TV watching are largely attained during preschool years. As with most things in life, when habits are formed in childhood, those habits continue for a major part of their life. There is a lot of direct violence and suggested violence in television programs recently. When children grow up watching these things, that will become normal for them. They will assume that swearing, fighting, and hurting people is just something you do when you're having a problem with them. The children who watch these shows will begin to become desensitized to violence. They will see it as normal, and it will become normal for them to do. Now that I have talked about the three areas that will be impacted by regular television viewing, I will talk about some solutions to these problems. Close your eyes and imagine a world where children use nothing but the television, media, and video games when they are bored. No one goes outside, and parks are just fields of grass without playgrounds. Children are distancing themselves from their parents because they don't understand what it's like to be a child. Children do what they want because that's what they see on TV. They are easily aggravated and use violence to tell people that they are upset. Now open your eyes. Does it sound familiar? As scary as it sounds, I just described so many homes in today's society. We see there's a problem, but how can we fix it? One of the first things we should do is to think about how often we allow our children to watch TV. One solution would be to limit the amount of time we allow them to watch. I know many families that only allow their children to watch 2 20-minute shows a day, one when they get home and one together as a family after supper, and they're not afraid to take away that privilege. Another solution is to think about the things that are happening in the shows that your children watch. Would you be okay if they behaved the same way that the kids do on TV? Find shows that support your morals and values. Don't pick anything that is too violent. Now I will summarize what I have said about relying on the television as parenting tools. Wholesome television shows are far and few between these days. The television shows that are on now can hurt your child. The relationships with them can suffer, and their judgment can be clouded by their desensitized views. Violence will become something that children do to cope with their problems because that's what they see. Although it may seem convenient at the time, it is dangerous for young children to get in the habit of relying on the television as their main source of entertainment. Think about how often you hear things come out of your children's mouth. Are you surprised that your precious and innocent little ones could say something like that? Where do you think they get it from? Consider reviewing the amount of screen time that your children have. Are there other things that they could be doing? What will you do to help them find activities that are more worth their time?